Good morning, everyone. My name is Maddie Stream. I'm going to do your July the 23rd, just for today, in a meditation. I greet you this morning. Let's go ahead and get into the meditation. Hope you're doing well today. The title of the meditation is Surrendering Self-Will. We want and demand that things always go our way. We should know from our past experience that our way of doing things did not work. That comes from the basic text, page 93. All of us have ideals, plans, goals for our lives. There's nothing in the NA program that says we shouldn't think for ourselves, take initiative, and put responsible plans into action. It's when our lives are driven by self-will that we run into problems. When we are living willfully, we go beyond thinking for ourselves. We think only of ourselves. We forget that we are but a part of the world, and that whatever personal strength we have is drawn from a higher power. We might even go so far as to imagine that other people exist solely to do our bidding. Quickly, we find ourselves at odds with everyone and everything around us. At this point, we have two choices. We can continue in our slavery to self-will, making unreasonable demands and becoming frustrated because the planet doesn't spin our way. Or we can surrender, relax, seek knowledge of God's will and the power to carry that out, and find our way back to a condition of peace with the world. Thinking, taking initiative, making responsible plans. There's nothing wrong with these things, so long as they serve God's will, not merely our own. Just for today, I will plan to do God's will, not mine. If I find myself at odds with everything around me, I will surrender self-will. Surrendering self-will. I think that's a given, right? Okay. Let's take a moment of silence, followed by the we version of Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now, please. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please and thank you. How many of us can relate to this self-will? We surrender to the disease of addiction, right? And admit that our lives have become unmanageable. Yeah, we did that. Maybe we did it more than once, but we did it, right? But this surrendering self-will is a whole different beast. It's something different. It's not surrendering, right, to the disease of addiction, right, is part of it. It's part of it. I want to make that clear, that is an example of surrendering self-will. It's an example. But the true essence of self-will is that thing that I believe involves mind, will, emotions, intentions, plans, right? And so it's almost like breathing. It's hard to get away from your will. How many of us have people in our lives that endured cancer treatment, chemotherapy, and lost the will to live? and decided, I'm too tired and I'm okay with not being here. And you all need to become okay with it, because the sooner you become okay with it, my agony will stop. They no longer have the will, the desire to endure what they were enduring in order to live. I know several people like that. I knew several people like that. So the will of a person, she's going to just force her will. What is that saying? That's saying that she's going to just make sure everybody does what she wants. When you stop wanting something, then that means you don't want it. And that could be good or bad. So I want to be clear here that when we're talking about surrendering self-will, it's for a purpose, because there is a level of a person's will that needs to be operative. As it says here, no one is asking people to come into Narcotics Anonymous and stop thinking for themselves. We're saying stop thinking only of yourself. That's a bit different than thinking for yourself. So don't get it confused. Oh, I can't have any will. No, actually, we need for you to have your mind and use it, your ambition and use it positively, your emotions and acknowledge them for what they are instead of trying to drug them away. A lot of the concepts that we're experiencing in Narcotics Anonymous, when we're talking about spiritual principles, spirituality, a lot of them are two-sided coins. And we often have thought of everything being all or nothing. But what we want to start to do is thinking of those things from the point of view of our higher power, from the point of view of our third step, where we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over. So I decided to do this. It's something that, again, falls within the scope of making your decision to do something, your will to do something. I will to turn my will over, right? My life over to the care of God. As I understand, that's important for me. That is highly important for me, because that means that I'm no longer operating just with my information and my experience. I no longer believe that everything that I come up with is the best plan, the best way to do things. And I have tons of experience to highlight that. I have tons of experience. My experience, strength, and hope. I have tons of experience that demonstrates to me that when I go about things on my own and I force my will in situations, tons of experience where it just doesn't work out. There ends up being so much chaos and so much contradiction and so so much dis-ease between myself and others. A lot of times it's not me doing it, it could be them doing it. But the end result usually is not good. And so when we talk about this being a spiritual program and not a religious one, we talk about it and we say it, we quote it a lot of times because it sounds good and we know that that is what it's supposed to be. but not because we have any real lived experience with it being a spiritual program, because we only allow that spiritual part of it to only go so far. A lot of times, our higher power is ourselves. The God that we have is ourselves, and we worship or we adore and we make what we want first and foremost. Okay? I'm not saying that we shouldn't, have some dignity about ourselves, but this ideal that what I want when I want it, the way that I want it, has to be, is a form of self will at its highest form. It's all about you. It's all about me. And nothing that anyone else wants matters or needs. How about that? Let's just stay at need. Nothing else that anyone needs matters or feels or wants. Mind, will, and emotion. And that is what creates our will. So surrendering it back to the point takes practice. It takes practice to get out of the way, take our hands off a situation that we are invested highly in, the outcome. But it's so draining. It's almost like a relapse. And then you have to start again with getting your attitude together the way it should be. Right? When in fact, we could just maintain it, make it a daily practice to apply the spiritual principles of this program, including surrendering self-will. My name is Mighty Stream. I've enjoyed talking to you today, and I will be talking to you tomorrow. Have a beautiful day on purpose. I intend to.